3 of our live eSUB Academy online. We're going to be going over increasing labor efficiency and controlling costs. If you guys didn't have the chance to join us yesterday or Tuesday or Monday, please reach out to me. We have everything recorded and we'd be more than happy to send it over to you. But just so you know, next week we'll be sending out recordings of every eSUB Academy session. Just make sure you have everything ease of use. Today's host again is going to be Eric. He has been with us for over a year now and is one of our senior implementation specialists at eSUB. Eric is great. If you haven't had the chance to work with him yet, you get the chance to see him in action today. So feel free to reach out to him afterwards if you have any extra questions about the webinar, and he'll be happy to go in depth for you. Just a quick reminder, if you have any questions throughout this webinar, there is a little Q&A and or chat section at the bottom of your screen. Feel free to pose any questions during the webinar. We will be saving about 10 minutes towards the end to go through them. So if we don't get through your questions throughout the webinar, don't worry, we see them and we will be answering them afterwards, unless we do later on in the webinar and you no longer have that question. But feel free to use the chat function as well. You can pose any questions to the rest of the attendees or to us, and we'll be able to see everything and go through it. So with that, Eric, take it away.
Thank you, Sam, for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. Let's go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so today's lesson, we're going to be going over increasing labor efficiency and controlling your costs. On today's agenda, we will be reviewing sorry, one second. There we go. We were reviewing how to increase that efficiency by going over your cost estimate versus your hours, productivity versus your job costing, and going over risk management. So about a year or so ago, I was talking to one of our senior solution engineers, Ed Coffin. If you are able to have him as one of your trainers or have dealt with him or seen one of his webinars or meetings, very bright individual. And I asked him, how inside of eSUB can we more efficiently talk to our customers on what things that they need to enter into their project to be able to track exactly where they're at in the course of the project. Now, Ed, being the person that he is, sent me over this slide here, basically mapping out how everything flows within inside of eSUB. Now, taking a quick look at this, I was like, okay, within 5 seconds, all right, the main thing we really need to look at is going to be what type of data that we're entering into our project. Because the better the data that we enter into the project, the more that we can get out of there. And again, like I said, Ed, his mind works in mysterious ways, so he mapped out this information. And again, at a simple glance, I looked at it and like, okay, I see where the important information that needs to be flown into eSUB to really get the reports that we're looking to get out of there. So what we're going to do now, we're going to enter into my eSUB project here. So if you were able to join us on Tuesday, I went over how to set up a project. The basic information that you need just to operate a project within inside of eSUB. Now today we're going to go into a little more in-depth setup and go over how certain information flows within inside of eSUB. That way you can get a better idea of how to track and know where you're at on the project. So here I'm simply going to go into one of the projects that I set up earlier. There we go. So here I can see my project. So again, we're going to be in the corporate management module. So here I can see my project. I can see what my total hours on the project, what remaining hours, and what hours I have used so far. So in here, when I set up the project, we simply, again, just entered in some basic information in regards to the project status, project name, and project number. Now, we're going to go back into our project configure page and go into a little bit more in-depth setup. So the current project that we're working on is a new campus that's being built. It is a 3-level project. Now, as a contractor, I want to know exactly what my costs are on the project, by floor. How much is it costing me to do certain activities on that project? So the first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we set up our cost codes. So here under display and hide cost code, I want to make sure that whatever cost codes that we're using for the project, and again, a cost code is basically taking the project and breaking it down into smaller parts. Now for this particular project, I'm going to be focusing more on the mechanical side of the project here. So here I'm going to make sure that on my cost codes that I have my mechanical codes displayed out. Here and let's see here. Here they are. So here I'm just going to double check, make sure I have all my mechanical cost codes displayed, because these are the ones I'm going to be associating hours, units, material, contract, and budget towards. So now that I secure that information is now saved, I can go ahead and enter in my estimate. Now, from the meeting on Tuesday, you saw that I manually entered in my job cost estimate by simply going to add job cost estimate. Now, I want to go into, again, a little bit more of a detail of knowing exactly what level and floors that I'm spending my budget on. So we're going to go down here to Advanced Setup. Now, in here in Advanced Setup, now I can set up what we call systems and phases here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and name out my system. Now, inside of eSUB, a system is going to be how I consider a location. It could be, on this project, I may have multiple buildings on here. So for a school campus, maybe have a gymnasium, a library, classrooms on there. So I can break up each one of those into its own system. That way, again, I can track exactly where certain units and labor hours are being used at. So here I have our main system of our main campus. So this is going to consider our main facility building here. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in phases. Now phases are going to be how we break up that system. Here I broke these up into floors. So we have our first, second, and third floor off of our main campus. And here you also can see that we have entered in our budgetary items for our original hours. So after you create your system and your phases, next thing we're going to do is we're going to import in our cost for the project. Now to import, we have our import estimate here. So simply click on import estimate. Here you're simply going to download an Excel document. Now you're going to go, your estimating team is going to take their costs and reflect it in towards a budget that you're going to enter into eSUB. So down here, I already created my budget. So here I selected which cost codes that we're going to use for this project. I entered in our units, and our units are going to be any things that we're tracking. We could be tracking installation of equipment. We can be tracking fixtures. We could be tracking, what's being installed as linear feet, square foot, cubic yards, tonnage. So whatever we were looking to track at a unit wise, we can enter in. Then next, we're going to enter in our labor costs, our original hours. If there's any material costs, if there's any work that we're subcontracting out, we're going to put that dollar amount there. Also with our equipment. Now, once I enter in our cost codes and our budgets, now I'm going to assign our systems and phases. So since this particular project only have one building that we're setting up, so I only have one system and one system name. But I have actually three different phases. So I have our first, second, and third floor. So I'm going to create a phase number to reflect all the activities that's happening on the first floor. On the second floor, I would do the same, and so on with the third. That way, each item and cost code that we associate to those floors can be tracked independently. Once we have our budget set, we just simply choose a file and import that information in. Once we have done the import, now we can go to our Add Job Cost Estimates. So here you're going to be able to see exactly where those floors are located at. And you can drill into each floor and see which cost codes are associated to that particular area. So here I have my mechanical controls ductwork equipment. So you can see I have certain units that I am tracking what's being installed, our labor costs, and material. So quick and simple, easy to add in that budget. Now, once that budget is entered in, now how we get the reporting. So yesterday, you were working with Tyler, if you were fortunate to catch that training. He was going over how we enter in daily reports using the Field mobile app or the punch in and punch out application of Time. Now, to record the exact activities that are being done on a particular project, we're going to go over to our daily reports. So here we're going to go to our construction docs, go to our daily reports, and we're going to create a new daily report. So on the daily report, again, it's going to capture exactly what transpired on that particular project on that given day. So here you can see all the weather information being pulled in. Here I simply select I'm the individual that is creating this report. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to enter in our crew information. So what activities that they're doing. So first I'm going to go ahead and select our crew members for this particular project. So I'll select the foreman, senior project manager, and a laborer, and 2 other people. So here I entered in my crew. Now I'm going to select where they're going to be working at on the project. So here I'll go to our systems and phases and select, what phase are they going to be working on? Are they working on the first, second, or third floor? So here they're going to be working on the first floor. I'll select what cost code that they're working on. So here they could be entering in ductwork. And what type of work are they doing? So how are we associating those hours? Is this going to be under the base contract, approved change orders? Is this going to be for field time and material? Are these going to be hours being tracked on unapproved change orders, as in price do not proceed, or in this case, price proceed, where you priced out those change orders, but none of those hours or any of the equipment has been approved. But to keep on track of your schedule, you're going to go ahead and proceed with there. But you do want to know where those hours are being tracked at. Next, we're going to enter in the hours for the employees. So here we have our 1x for straight, 1.5 for time and a half. We have our lost hours. So any hours that we lose productivity on, we want to make sure that we're tracking this. Each hour that is lost, we can record that information and pull out different reports. So for example, maybe we had a delay today and we lost 1 hour of productivity on the project. And maybe this was caused by a coordination issue by the GC on having maybe multiple traits on at one time, or not scheduling certain equipment to be delivered for that area. So we lost 1 hour in there. And here we're going to put in our units tracking. How much did each individual install on the ductwork on this project? So here I'm going to say each employee installed, let's say, 15 linear feet of duct today. And here I'm going to put in our comment. Now, if I try to save without entering a comment with this lost hour, eSUB will automatically prompt me to add in that information. We need to know what and why we lost hours on this project. That way, if you ever needed to, if you got back charged on a project, you have your supporting document information to represent it for that. So here we had a 1-hour delay due to a late delivery of a crane. So once we enter in our information on our daily report here, we can go ahead and save now. And I'm going to go ahead and create one more daily report. I'm simply just going to use our copy from feature. So anytime that you needed to copy over information on a project very quickly, you can always use the copy from feature. And I'm just simply going to change the cost code that we use for that day and select another code. Let's put in mechanical piping. And let's say they did 30 linear feet on there. And we're simply just going to remove our lost hour. Now I'll go ahead and hit save. Okay, so now we can start looking at some of our reports that we have generated. So from the daily report, we can see that we have 5 total workers per day. A total of 40 hours have been worked. So here, if I go into our labor productivity report by units. So here I can see exactly from either the phase, I can single out by individual cost codes. I can filter in by either cost code or labor code types here. So for example, here you can see the hours that were originally associated for the project. If we had any additional change orders added into there, you'll be able to track those hours as well. Here's our total units that we are tracking on the project. We can see where units per hours are being tracked, so we can see how much per hour is being installed. And you can see the total amount that has been entered in. So here we have our piping, how many units are installed. We can see how many units per hour are being installed and how much of our hours we have used so far on this particular project. Now, if you want to drill down even further, you can see exactly where your labor class that are working on this project. So here I can see exactly my labor class, how many hours they worked. By their labor class, we are able to generate a dollar amount to see exactly how much each of those labor class are costing us on this particular project and get a total cost of our labor cost for the project here. Now, if we go up to our reports, if you want to drill down a little bit further. So up at the very top, we have reports and graphics. And here we can go into our labor productivity reports. So on the labor productivity reports, again, this would drill down even further onto the project. Looking at our main campus here, we'll simply drill down into the campus. Then we have our phases, so our first, second, and third floor again, and where we can go into that particular floor and see where we're at on that project. So again, here you're going to see your original budget, your total hours, and hours used on the project. Now, for example, down here we have how much mechanical piping that we installed. Right now, we have used less than a percent of less than 0.5% of the hours that we used on there. So in here, I can put in, how much of this work have we actually complete. Now, this is going to be more of a visual of what's being installed. So your foreman or your project managers are going to go in and say exactly where they feel that they're at on this project at this particular time. So for example, I can go in and put in, we did excellent work, so we're about 2% of our job has been complete. Let's make it an even number of 5%. Here, once I save in my data, it's going to update my information on the project and let me know how we're doing on here. So as this calculating through, it's going to take the hours that we entered in, the hours that we used, and the projection of how much the work has been complete. And that would give us our projected hours. So here it's going to say, do we need additional hours depending on where we land on the project? Or are we right on schedule on this particular project now? So here I have in like 5% of the work is done. You're going to have a large percentage of work complete from the little hours that we have. Now, in most reports, you do not want to be at this large of a number. And you're like, well, that number is a great number to be at. It's saying I'm really efficient on that part. Yes, it's saying that you're really efficient on that part, but you also overestimated on your hours. You can reallocate some of the hours towards another portion of the project, but you really want to be within 95 to maybe 105% of where you're at on the project. Because too high of a number means you overestimated. Too low of a number, it means you have issues on that project. Okay. Then you also, again, can see exactly who worked on that particular project as well. By simply clicking on that cost code, you can see exactly who's working on that project. So if you have certain crews that have very high numbers or not installing or not as efficient as they should be, you can go back and look and see like who are causing maybe these issues or delays and how can we help improve them? What do they need from us to be more efficient? Do they need additional manpower? Do they need additional equipment? How can we support them in this endeavor? So again, using the labor breakdown, you can see exactly how I broke it down. So in here, you can see your mechanical. So this is my mechanical division. My area in California, the project in the systems and phases. So I can even do reports and show how my mechanical projects in certain areas or divisions are working in. So using the labor productivity report gives you a lot of in-depth information on there. Now, once all that information is being entered in, you can review some of the job costing reports that we have. So one of them was our lost hour summary. So depending on the particular project, you can always go back again and pull a report. You could do this weekly, you could do it monthly, but you can see exactly how many hours that you lost on that project, what caused those issues on that loss, and the total hours on there. So at the end of the project, again, this is going to be information that you can always leverage. So if there's any liquid damage or back charges that the contractor is looking to tack onto you, well, you can always go back and pull these reports and like, well, we lost these hours due to this situation here, or we lost these hours due to the fact that you didn't schedule out as you should have. So again, use this information to really leverage your position on the projects here. Our cost detail reports. So here we can see exactly from our cost detail reports, again, we can filter through our systems or phases. We can drill down on particular cost codes or cost types in here. So from here, we can see exactly on our budget, exactly where we're at on our committed costs. So for example, we have our mechanical piping here. So original estimated cost was at $150,000. So far, our committed costs from our daily reports that have been generated, we're looking at approximately $2,312 here. So on our uncommitted costs, this let us know that we have a remaining balance of $147,688. Our projected estimate. So here on our projected additional costs, if I know that we're going to have a additional, maybe a change order that's going to take place and that has not entered into our system, but I want to look at, what would that additional cost look like in there? I could simply the project cost and put it in my projected estimate in here. So let's say it's going to be additional, let's say 160. So in here, it's going to let me know, okay, our additional cost that we add in, cost to complete is now going to be 162,000. it does show that we're over budget by $12,000. Well, that lets me know that one, I need to get that change order in. That way it can reflect more on the variances on our estimate, but it also gives me an idea of maybe additional workforce that I need to incorporate for that change order, or maybe even work out my schedule for that particular project at that given time. Going back to our other report, so here we can look at our cost to complete report. So looking at the cost complete report, you can see any pending information on there. So if I had any pending change orders at the time, so if we were doing any type of price to proceed, so if we were staying on schedule or trying to stay on schedule, and we have an outlaid amount of, let's say, $30,000 there. Now, we're currently at risk. So, looking at these different reports will let you know, okay, we have $30,000 that we're at risk of possibly losing without having that change order approved. But also, it's going to throw off our numbers because we're not calculating to our cost to date. It won't be generated through there. Down here, we're going to be able to see our original budget. We're going to see our change orders and our revised budget. And also I can get an estimated between the hours that we have generated so far off the daily report. What is my running rate for my labor per hour? So far, our cost to date, you're looking at an average of $57.80 through the project so far to date. You can also see our projected costs on the project so far of the additional amount of revenue that we need to complete the cost to date from here. Then again, as projects are being entered in, you also be able to see your estimated materials costs. So as you enter in purchase orders, you can see what materials have been ordered. So showing out your actual committed costs on here. So once a change order has been entered in, you will see that amount calculated under our actual cost through date. Again, in here, you can put in your projections. So for example, if you wanted to know, okay, well, I enter in a purchase order and so far we spent, $45,000. My material cost so far is going to be $102,000. So here I can run my calculations on this report and see exactly where I'm at to date on here. So as I enter this information in, I can look at my project and see exactly how much I have remaining on the project in regards to my labor, my equipment, and my material cost here. Now, if I would like to send this information out, I basically can archive this information by simply clicking on archive down here at the very bottom. And what that's going to do, it's going to take a snapshot of where that project is at this particular time. And now I can email this out to other members of my team. So here I can simply select what individuals that I would like to share this project info with, and simply email that out to them from here. As a recipient or the creator or sending out the email, I will automatically always get copied on any reports that I send out. So I will have this in my personal or work email as well. So once we look and see exactly where we're at this particular project, we did our projections on there, I can plan accordingly on how we're going to see this information out. So this is the way that we would track our labor efficiency inside of eSUB. Now, tracking the info on seeing where we're at or risks in our project, we're going to go to the Start menu and we're going to go into our Corporate Manage view. So when you click on here, it will take you automatically to your field notes. So here is going to take you to your field note page. So you're going to be able to see exactly what's been transpiring on any particular project at that given time. But we're going to go ahead and look at some of the reporting on here. So the first report we're going to take a look at is going to be our corporate cost summary. So here we're able to see exactly what projects we're currently working on. So just take a few minutes. I have quite a bit of projects in here. So here on the corporate cost summary, I can see exactly all the projects that we are currently working on. Now I can filter through the information on what are my open projects, my bid projects, what's been won, what's been complete. I can search by the project name, project number. Then I also can filter through my different divisions. So if I want to see just my mechanical project, I simply select that mechanical division. And depending on the market area, I can filter between several different market areas to see how different areas are doing. For this one, I'm going to go ahead and select my California market, hit search, and it'll bring up that project there. So here I can see exactly where we're at in the project. I can see our labor, material costs across all board here. So this is a great way to see what the health of your projects are going on. So here I'm going to go ahead and just see all my projects, filter through, and determine where we're having issues at. So here I can see in our labor on our Jefferson project, we're having an issue there. Now, anytime you see red numbers on your report, it's saying that it's out of variance. Now here, it may not be the project is in trouble, but it will be a way that it will alert you onto certain issues. Now, could it be, you're over budget on the hours that you didn't estimate accordingly? Was there additional rework that transpired at that particular time? Was there a change order that wasn't captured and is not reflected on there? So again, these are all going to be different type of alerts that will prompt you to really look into that. So right here on the project, I can see that we have a variance on our material. It doesn't look like we originally budgeted out this material. So again, this is going to let me drill in to see what's going on that project. Was there a change order that took place that additional material was needed for this project? Was it something that maybe our estimating team overlooked? So these are going to be prompt questions to see where the health of that project is at that particular time. Now, as we drill through into the projects, we can go ahead and see, what project, what's the health, is there any pending information that is going to be needed for that project at that time? Sorry, it's just taking a second for that project to open up. Here, let's try another one. Sorry about that. Seeing I have a little delay in my internet here. So let's go ahead and look at another report here. Now, the other thing that the cost summary report can do, you also can look at how certain project managers are doing. So here I can filter out, I want to see all of Matt's projects. So here I can go to Matt, search out Matt's name in here, and filter and review all Matt's projects. So here I can go back and see how he's doing on those particular projects here. Hey, Sam, could you grab the screen back for, oh, here we go. This took a second, had quite a bit of projects to filter through. So here I can see all the projects that Matt has currently been working on here. So he has his Southern Hospital, his Mesa College, and I can see, how he's doing on those projects. So here, you can quickly review that information on there just to see. Now, you also can, export out this information from Excel. So any of the tables that I filter out, I can simply click on here and download that information to review. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to our main menu here. So the ways that you can, track information inside of eSUB is going to be dependent on what type of data that you enter in. Now, your reports are only going to be as good as what information that is collected out in the field. So everything is going to be driven by what the field is able to collect. So by doing daily reports, we can track exactly the units that we're using on the project, so we can determine, where we're efficient at and where do we need additional assistance in. We can see, are we estimating correctly for our budgets on our projects? Or do we need to be a little bit more aggressive or have more wiggle room on the way that we build? Here we can see, the health of our projects. Are our projects, in good health? Or are they in trouble that needs additional assistance on there or more looking? Because quite a bit times I have clients tell me, well, I ask, okay, how do you know if your project is healthy? Well, we don't know. We don't know until after the project is closed out. So telling me that you do not know, if you made or lost money on that project. So using eSUB will help eliminate that information or that gap. So by doing daily reports, by entering in your budget, you're able to capture exactly where you're at that given time. Now, I would like to go ahead and open up the floor for any additional questions that you may have.
All right, Erica, I'm not sure if you can see the Q&A panel down there, but we do have a few questions from some of our attendees.
Okay. I do not see that panel, so if you could read those off to me, that would be much
Yes, I
appreciated.
will go ahead. So the first question, what if your hours lost does not affect the entire crew? So for example, it only loses time for the guys doing the work, not the project manager or foreman.
Okay, so that is a great question. So inside of my eSUB account, I have my daily report set up as a crew. You can have it set up by individual cost codes. So you could select what individual those hours goes towards. So for example, under administration in company setup, you can go into your company preference and change that setting. So for example, under my daily reports here, I can change how that info is being entered in. So here I have it entered in by employees. I could enter in by cost code and track more precisely on that cost code, so I can associate those hours for a particular individual. So for example, I had that senior project manager in there. If I was tracking it by cost code, I could have it for each one of those individuals.
All right, thank you, Eric. And then the next question, what user level on eSUB do you need to be to edit cost to complete?
To edit cost to complete, be a project manager and above.
All right. So as of right now, those were the only two questions that we had. See if anyone comes in with any more. All right. I think we are good on questions.
Oh, perfect. Well, if you have any other questions or if there are more details that you would like to see in regards to using eSUB, please feel free to reach out to your account manager, your trainer, or just reach out to the support email that we have listed there.
Yes, you can do either of those. Feel free to shoot me an email as well. You should have it from the confirmation email from registration, and I'd be more than happy to route you guys to the correct person or whoever can help you out. Looks like we are ending a little bit early. Looks like, Eric, but that's okay. Just a little FYI, you guys will be getting a survey after this webinar to fill out, just to let us know how we did, if you like the content, if there's anything in specific you'd like to see in the future. That will really help us out and will in turn also help you get the best experience out of eSUB that you can get as well. We really appreciate your time today. I know that it's a really hectic week, so it's really nice for all of us to come together at least for 45 minutes just to find some common ground. So thank you guys again so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.